sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
Okay, so today we're diving into something pretty heavy, honestly. It's been all over the news, this whole thing with Haiti and temporary protected status, TPS.
Right. It's a big deal. I mean, we're talking about potentially like almost 500,000 people having to, well, leave the U.S.
Yeah, and we've got a whole stack of reports and articles here, and it's just, well, it's pretty overwhelming, to be honest.
It is. And I think what gets lost in the headlines sometimes is that this is about real people, people who have been living and working here in the U.S., I mean, sometimes for 15 years?
I was reading some firsthand accounts earlier, and it's heartbreaking. They're talking about families, kids who've grown up here, and now they're facing this possibility of being sent back to Haiti.
Exactly. To a country, by the way, that's in the middle of a serious crisis. But before we get too deep into that, maybe we should back up a bit. Not everyone's totally clear on what TPS actually is.
Yeah, good point. It's not like a green card or a path to citizenship or anything, right?
Right. It's not. It's more like think of it as a temporary safe haven. When a country's hit by, something really bad, like a war, a natural disaster, something that makes it unsafe, the U.S. can grant TPS to people from that country who are already here.
So it lets them stay and work legally, but it's not, like you said, a permanent thing.
Exactly.
So what's going on with Haiti? Why is the U.S. saying TPS should end now?
Well, the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, they're saying conditions in Haiti have gotten better, enough that TPS isn't, necessary anymore.
But, I mean, some of these UN reports we have here, it's grim. They're saying 85% of the capital is controlled by gangs, and sexual violence against children has skyrocketed, 1,000% increase.
It's really bad, and over 5,600 people killed in gang violence just last year alone, which is, yeah.
So how can anyone say it's safe enough to send people back?
Well, the DHS has their own ways of deciding whether a country is safe enough, and they're saying, yeah, there are still problems, but some things have improved.
Okay, but what about this argument that TPS is being misused? What does that even mean?
It's kind of a murky area, to be honest, but basically the DHS is saying some people might have come to the U.S. illegally and then used TPS as a way to stay, even though they weren't really supposed to qualify.
So maybe they didn't flee a disaster or anything, but they saw TPS as a loophole.
Yeah, something like that. It's hard to know how widespread it is, but it's definitely a big part of the debate.
Makes you think that maybe the program needs some tightening up.
Maybe.
But even so with Haiti, it keeps coming back to the human cost, doesn't it? We're talking about uprooting people who have built entire lives here.
Yeah, and not just individuals, right? I mean, think about sending, almost 500,000 people back to Haiti all at once? What that could do to the country itself.
That's already struggling with so much. Adding that many people, it could just, make things worse.
Exactly. And it's not like this is the first time TPS has been, in the spotlight. We saw something similar with Venezuela, didn't we?
Oh, right. And that's tied up in legal battles now, right?
Yep, still ongoing, which kind of raises the question of, how are these decisions even being made? What are the criteria for ending TPS?
Yeah. And speaking of more politics, I can't help but think about how Haitians were talked about, especially during the Trump administration.
Yeah.
That whole thing about them eating domestic pets, which was totally made up, by the way.
Right, completely debunked.
But it just goes to show how charged this whole issue is and how sometimes facts get lost in the heat of it all.
Absolutely. And I think that's something we need to be really careful about because ultimately this is about people's lives.
So where do things stand now? What's next for these Haitian families?
Well, the Biden administration has said they'll have 18 months to, get ready to leave. Or to try and find some other legal way to stay, which, is not easy.
No, it's not. So many tough decisions ahead. I think this has been a really important deep dive.
It has.
What's your biggest takeaway from all this?
I think for me, it's a reminder that behind these policies, these big decisions are real people with real lives. And the situation in Haiti is it's complicated. There are no easy answers.
No, there really aren't. And for our listeners, I think the question to think about is, what happens if these deportations go ahead? What happens to those families, those communities? And what happens to Haiti? It's something we all need to keep paying attention to.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.